Jack, life aboard a ship. I'm not thinking about a cruise ship, but the USS Lake Champlain.
Oh
Uh,
boy,
so, what was life aboard a Navy vessel during World War II like?
that was I was really like Ensign Pulver in that thing. I was a brand new spanking ensign, and on I came, and without realizing it, they made me communications officer, for God's sake, by mistake. And that was all right because they were deactivating the ship. So I logged everything ashore and everything, and then they decided to set sail from Norfolk to Newport News, and I ran the damn thing aground, which did not thrill the captain, but he didn't know it was my fault. He thought I was great, so he gave me a commendation, and I got a cushy job at the Pentagon for about 2 months.
Okay. You know, every actor seems to have an interesting job before they're an actor. Being the quality checkout person for a restaurant chain, what was that like, and how popular were you with that job?
Well, the problem with that didn't work out too well, and that lasted about a week or so because you could write down the tip and leave it, and they could turn it in and get the money of $1, $2, and $5. I left everybody $5 because if I was them, I'd want the $5. So they canned me pretty quick and said, "This is ridiculous." I said everybody's service was superb, and I give them $5, which was a lot of money back in the late 40s.
Hey, Jack, I've always been fascinated with actors, unusual professions they have before they become actors. Now, working as a bouncer in a music hall, what was that like for you?
Well, fortunately, I never had to bounce anybody because I weighed 148 at that time. I wish I weighed that now. I weigh 158 or 60. But anyway, I was the bouncer. I was the off and on again bartender. I was the orchestra because I played the piano to accompany the singers. And I also was the MC. I was damn near the whole show. I was I was also the only one in there aside from maybe 1 or 2 customers a week or something.
Well, I got a question about politicians. Now, you've met a number of heads of states during your lifetime. How good are politicians at making small talk? Are you ever surprised at what politicians have to say to you?
You can be very surprised. Some are a lot better than others. I went to school with President Bush, so I knew him, and there's a certain rapport there. I mean, I can talk to him and his wife fairly, easily and loosely and unselfconsciously. I admire Clinton very much. I like him as a person very much. He's terrific with small talk, and he's also extremely knowledgeable, and he's smart enough if he knows that he's going to meet you, or this and that, he'll bone up a little bit, he'll have some interesting things to say about film or questions to ask. And he's good. He's very good with small talk.
Yeah. What have been
as is the First Lady.
Yeah.
I can think of one funny moment that happened with the Reagans when we were at the White House with them. They could not have been more cordial or polite, both Ronnie and Nancy, and especially knowing that my wife and I are die-hard Democrats. But they invited us there when we were in Washington, and they had just seen Missing, which was a story of a man who lost his son in Chile, and the State Department knew about it. And it also brought up the fact that the State Department fully backed the coup of Allende, and we were behind the whole damn thing without any question, although we always said we have nothing to do with that. And that was the official government stand. Anyhow, Reagan had run the film the night before, and we knew that. So we weren't going to say a word about it unless they did. But after we were there with them close to 2 hours, Felicia, my fair Felicia, turned to Nancy and Ron and said, "How did you like Missing?" I went off the chair. But anyway, she said, "How did you like Missing?" Ronnie dropped his teacup and spit out a little bit of tea. And Nancy kind of gulped, and I couldn't believe it, but she then turned and said, well, we wished that it had a happy ending. And I could not believe my ears, you know, at such a line. But that's the most surprised I've been by a president or a first lady.
Now, this odd couple reunion thing, now how long has that been in the works?
Off and on for a number of years. And then Neil had, we all had a lunch about 2 years ago or so, and Neil said, I've got 40 pages. I don't want anybody to read them yet. He said, but I'm gung-ho on this thing. And then nothing happened. And Paramount wasn't ready to go ahead with it yet. And then all of a sudden, they said, yes, let's go. And Neil said, well, I'm doing a play too. Well, let me see what happens. And he called me up and he said, I have got the script. And I said, it was only a week ago that I heard that you were going to work on this thing. He says, that's right. It came in 12 days. He said, I never had anything come out that easy and that fast. And it is superb, believe me. If anything, it's superior to the first one.
You know, I know you've probably gotten very tired of being asked, you know, what's it like to work with Walter Matthau, what's the chemistry and all that stuff. I'm just curious, the first time you met, what was your initial take on him? If someone would have said, you know, you guys are going to be making 10 movies together, would you have been shocked?
I would have been very surprised, yeah, with anybody. Anybody that would put up with me for 10 in a row, I'd be very surprised. When I first met Walter, it was only that I respected him immensely because I had seen his work on Broadway. He was one of the leading young character men on Broadway at that time. This is back in the early live TV days, I think it was the early 50s when I first met him. And he was very funny. We were talking at Sardi's bar the first time that I met him. He says that the first time I met him was when I ordered a malt and a Jewish delicatessen, and he never got over that. Fried shrimp and a chocolate frap or something. But that wasn't the first time. We had met in New York prior to that.
Well, in real life, you know, your character is annoyed by a lot of things. I mean, in the movie, your character is annoyed by a lot of things that that Oscar does. In
Sure.
real life, you know, is there anything about Walter Matthau that just gets you a little tense sometimes?
No, not really. I'll get surprised because Walter can be unexpected in his reaction to something you say or something that happens or whatever, and he'll come out with something that will surprise me. But it would not be what you expect the answer is going to be or a line is going to be from the other guy, and so it will surprise me, but it doesn't necessarily upset me at all. I'm used to it. He's nuts, is what it is.
You know, Jack, it seems a part of the process of making a movie is you have to kill a lot of time. When you're in a car being towed around, what are you and Walter talking about in between takes?
Oh, everything you can think of except the scene, I guess, because we don't rehearse very much. We work together so easily, you know, and we're so used to it that we wait until the camera's rolling and then let things happen. And sometimes they're very surprising to both of us. But I don't know, we would talk about everything, how are the Lakers doing or whatever, or what's Clinton up to today, and et cetera, or the business in general, something that we don't like that's going on, or whatever. It's pretty mundane.
And one very quick question. Love the scene when you're in your presidential library looking at the souvenirs. Did you keep any of that stuff? And how much of a pack rack are you when it comes to memorabilia?
I've got it all over the place. My office is almost impossible to move in, and our den at home is the same way. It's just crammed full of stuff. I love it. I keep it. I've got boxes full of memorabilia and things off the set, and you know, clippings, and there's, God, you name it, I've got it.
One final question on the lighter side. I've always been interested in actors when they travel. I've been on airplane flights where the guy next to me just won't shut up, is yap, 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 yap the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
flight. When you fly and you have the seatmate from hell next to you, what do you do to get out of that situation?
It's the only thing you can do.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.